Hello everyone, and welcome to my quick guide for fighting Arch-Tempered Nergigante. He's finally arrived, and he is a very difficult fight. So what you haven't seen so far in this video, you didn't know that before we got into the fight, I was very careful about my selections at the canteen. At the canteen, I definitely used a voucher, okay? So if you've been saving your vouchers, now's the time to use it. Arch-Tempered Nergigante is easily one of the most difficult fights in the game. He's being compared to Extreme Behemoth in terms of difficulty, so that should give you an idea of just how difficult he is. So at the canteen, everyone checked for feline insurance, we used a voucher, and then most importantly, we ate for feline moxie. All the other things you can eat at the canteen, forget about it. Don't worry about any other feline skills. Nothing is more valuable than feline moxie for this fight, okay? So we're in stage 1. You can see I'm using a hammer. Hammers are one of my favorite melee weapons in the game. I had just defeated him previously with the Dark Devourer, so you can use that as well, and maybe I'll make a guide for that later. But you can see I'm using the hammer on him, I'm smashing him in the head, and we're playing multiplayer, which means that he has about 58,000 health. Alright, and he just used one of his new moves on me. You'll notice his, he kind of leapt up there, and he actually went backwards. So it's a really confusing new move, and it's very fast. Arch-Tempered Nergigante's new moves don't really give you a lot of time to react, and that's what really stands out about this fight. You almost don't get to react to these moves. A few other things stand out as well. A lot of the moves will actually one-shot you, or they'll almost one-shot you, so if you're missing even just a little bit of health like I was right there, he will take you down with the next move, right? You can call that one-shotting if you want. And then another thing that really stands out about the fight is as time progresses, as you deal more damage to him and he gets closer to death, he gets faster and faster, and boy does he gets crazy fast. So his dive bomb comes out faster, he's got a new tail whip where he slams it down on the ground, he spins it around in a circle, and that move will one-shot you. It is ridiculous how much damage it does, and you will find yourself very frustrated in this fight. So he's definitely a very tough fight. He just drains your lives very quickly. By the way, I mentioned feline moxie at the canteen. Here's a little pro tip. Some of the Lunastra weapons also have guts. Oh, you can see Moxie just procced for me right there. See, I have no health. That's because the move he used just drained all my health. So this gives you an impression of how careful you actually have to be with Arch-Tempered Nergigante. You can't let any of his moves touch you. Now, as I was suggesting, there's a set of Lunastra weapons called the Blaze weapons, and these have the Gut skill. Guts and Moxie are the same thing, so you could bring some Blaze weapons. They're not bad, they're not necessarily meta, but the fact that they have Guts built in is actually going to be very valuable for this fight. And there is actually some really good Blaze weapons. For example, one of them is going to be the Blaze Hunting Horn. This is one of the best hunting horns in the game, and it has Guts built in. So if you're a hunting horn player, be sure to bring that one, right? Alright, so we got a knockdown on him. We got both of the boulders to fall on him. If you miss either of the boulders in this stage, you're going to lose out on a lot of damage. You could put him to sleep in this stage and drop a boulder on top of him. I'm actually going to kind of recommend that you save your crowd controls for the very end of the fight. He really is that crazy at the end of the game that you should be using all of your crowd controls on him at the end. This part of the fight, he's just so much easier. That little extra damage you get from the wake up is a decent chunk of free damage, but you know, you can just work that damage down on your own. He's probably not going to kill you in stage 1. Yeah. Alright, so he's going to move on to stage 2. Stage 2 is very important. So in stage 1, you're just dropping the boulders on him, you're getting some damage on him, but in stage 2, now you have to be a bit more strategic. In stage 2, what's going to happen is either Arch-Tempered Teostra is going to show up, or Arch-Tempered Kushala Daora is going to show up. One or the other. And they don't show up right away like in the other Arch-Tempered fights. They don't show up right away. They show up after a minute or two. So really what the game developers were trying to get you to do, they're trying to get you to accidentally crowd control Nergigante while Kushala Daora is showing up, or while, oh look at that, man. See, that's why I'm telling you, his moves do so much damage. Alright, and look at this. If I did not dive evade, that would have been death. Very difficult fight. So, as I was saying, no crowd controlling Nergigante until after Arch-Tempered Teostra or Arch-Tempered Kushala Daora show up. You can see my teammate here, he's mounted Arch-Tempered Nergigante. That is a crowd control, but he's done it so early, the Arch-Tempered Teostra, Arch-Tempered Kushala Daora, neither of them have showed up yet. So if you are going to use a crowd control, you have to do it very early, you have to get it out of the way, and then when they do show up, for the love of God, just stop attacking, run around in a circle for a minute, and let them have their turf war. What happens is this: if you let them have their turf war, free damage. You get free damage on the monster, and then at the end of the turf war, Teostra or Kushala Daora, they leave. It's really nice. But here's what happens if you crowd control Nergigante when they arrive. They stay there for like 3 minutes, and I guarantee you, people on your team are going to die because of this. So what happens is if the turf war never occurs, just like in the other Arch-Tempered quests, the second monster will stick around and they'll continue to fight you, and you'll get one-shotted by Nergigante or you'll get one-shotted by the other Arch-Tempered monster. So that's a very important part of this fight. Think of it as like a checkpoint in the fight. Checkpoint in the fight is when the other monster arrives. Did you get the turf war? You're having a good fight. If you didn't get the turf war, you're having a very bad fight. And again, it just comes down to not crowd controlling him. So there's Kushala Daora. He kind of sneaks in. Okay, he kind of sneaks in. You don't really know when he's showing up. It's just kind of time-based. You know he shows up about 2 minutes into stage 2. They're having their fight. They got a cool little turf war. Nergigante looks very dominant. He's just throwing Kushala Daora around like he's a ragdoll. Kushala Daora's had enough of it. He's like, I'm out of here. He says, good luck, guys. He's all yours. All right, and so we've gotten past that sort of checkpoint. The turf war is over, and all that's left to do is to survive and kill Nergigante, but that is still pretty difficult. At this point in the fight, I would say you can use your crowd controls. You know, if you want to, you can use them at this point. You could wait till the very end. You can see there, Ron Swanson, he just lost all of his health, so Moxie just procced for him. If you think about it as procced for me and as procced for him, we would have lost 2 lives right there, but because we both had Moxie, we still both have our lives, okay? So you can see just how important Moxie is for doing this in multiplayer. Again, in solo, you're probably going to have Fortitude in solo on your build, and you're probably going to abuse Fortitude, and he has so much less life when you're in solo, but this is for multiplayer. Alright, what you can see me doing is I'm really abusing the ledge because the hammer is terrific at ledge hopping. I love ledge hopping with the hammer. It does a lot of damage. It builds a lot of mount damage. When it comes to mount damage with Nergigante, the first mount, you get it pretty easily, I would say. The second mount actually does take a while, and a third mount takes forever. In fact, a lot of the crowd controls really don't come by him very easily. He does a lot of damage. He has a lot of health. He's not that easy to crowd control. He's just a terrifically difficult fight. Also, I should mention, we know that his spikes have twice the health that the spikes normally do. I saw some people bringing Part Breaker on their build. I don't think you can afford Part Breaker for this fight. So the unfortunate reality is that you're not going to be chain staggering Arch-Tempered Nergigante by breaking his spikes over and over again. A, he moves too fast. B, the spikes have too much health, and C, your build really needs to go full offense and full defense together as efficiently as possible. By full defense, I mean like probably Tool Specialist, Vitality 3, those would be the main ones, yeah. Okay, so here I am, I'm on a ledge again. You can see I have the Temporal Mantle, so I'm in super mode, I'm in God mode, and this is really where I need to get lots of damage out. You see I got a mount here. I was tempted to jump off of him and get back to ledge hopping, but you know, I've got a full team with me, so I decided I might as well get the knockdown. But I'm going to try and get the knockdown as fast as possible. We're doing the mount mini game. So many of you guys know the Iceborne developer update, the spring update, showed that we'll have something called a clutch claw now. You'll be able to jump directly onto the monster, so I'm excited to try that in the future. Alright, so he's coming down. There it is. We're going to go for the big bang with our hammer, because that's what you do with the hammer. Probably not going to get it. Oh, maybe I do get it. Ah, but the last part is on his claw. That's too bad. Managed to dodge the roar. If you can dodge the roar, good for you. Actually, Arch-Tempered Nergigante's roar has kind of a limited hitbox, I noticed. If you're like directly behind him, it won't tag you. And also, if you're kind of further away from him, it won't tag you either. It has a shorter range than most roars, but it will catch you if you're right in front of him. Alright, so the Temporal Mantle is gone. We're putting on the Rocksteady Mantle once again, and on my build, the reason that you see the Lunastra Coil is because I have gone Tool Specialist and I have brought the Rocksteady Mantle. The Rocksteady Mantle is going to absorb some of the damage, so that's going to take the edge off of some of his most damaging moves, like that one right there. See that? So that's one of his new moves. It's one of his new leaps, and it probably would have killed me if I wasn't wearing Rocksteady Mantle. So you can see just how close this fight is. Now, check this out. There's a very important part of the fight. I have Crystal Burst. We grab... Oh, right, he escapes. There's nothing you can do about it. I remember this because I found it strange. So... you can use Flash Pods on Nergigante to stop him. You can even knock him out of the air when he leaps with Flash Pods. The other thing you can do, you can actually use the Crystal Burst to get him to stop from escaping to his nest as well. So I don't really know why it didn't work there, but it will work later, so you'll see that in a minute. Once again, we're back at the ledge. This is something you need to think about. If you have teammates that can abuse the ledge, just fight them by the ledge. Just do your teammate, your ledge hopping teammate, a favor and fight him by the ledge. You can see that there's another moment where presumably the Rocksteady Mantle was saving me there because it absorbs some of the damage of that blow. Alright, you can see me, I'm still trying to reach him. He's just a bit further away, isn't he? Come on, guys. My teammates don't want to fight him by the ledge, but they really should because they're going to do the same damage they would have done away from the ledge, and I'm going to do bonus damage for being by the ledge. And I'm going to give them a mount, probably. So he's trying to escape. There's the crystal burst, and now he's interrupted. And what's nice is he's not going to his nest. Arch-tempered Nergigante is a nightmare in his nest. It works just like the regular Nergigante fight. You have falling spikes, he roars a lot, he breaks the walls, and his black spikes come back very fast. And at this point in the fight against Arch-tempered Nergigante, he's really getting aggressive. And a lot of those moves, there it goes, Ron Swanson's gone. A lot of those moves that you see him using are going to be able to one-shot you. They're very ridiculous. There's also a new tail swipe to look out for. He slams his tail down. He'll start using it. As you progress in the fight, he starts using it. He doesn't start using it right away. He slams his tail down, and then he spins it in a big circle. If you get hit by his tail, you're pretty much dead. I know with the heavy bowgun, even with the Rocksteady Mantle on, it was a one-shot. That gives you an idea just how much damage he does. Alright, we just shot him. Another skill that might help if you can afford it, some builds can afford it, like probably Gunlance can afford it, Divine Protection. So Divine Protection has a chance of cutting the damage you receive in half, so a move that would have one-shot you would probably leave you with some of your life left. So Divine Protection is a high priority skill, but I would take Tool Specialist first so that you can really abuse the Temporal Mantle. So the order of defensive skills is probably Vitality, Tool Specialist, Divine Protection. That's the order I would go in. Alright, he wanted to kill me right there for sure. I did my dive evade. You can see how important it is to be able to sheath your weapon quickly if you don't have a shield, because obviously I couldn't guard that. Here's another tip actually. I did use the lance against him for a while, and near the end of the fight, when I'm telling you, he really charges up near the end of the fight. He just becomes really fast, really damaging, really dangerous. Well, a lot of his moves have multi-hit procs to them, right? If he's got spikes on his arms, this is just like regular Nergigante, but the thing is, he's dealing so much pierce damage that even if you have like almost half health left with the shield weapon and you get hit by one of his more damaging pierce attacks, it's going to cut right through your shield and it's going to totally drain all your health and kill you. So it's really important to keep your health up. You can even have a healer on the team if you wanted. I did have a number of fights where we had a healer on the team, but just be sure if you play healer, you also get a fair amount of damage out too. He's not a fight you want to extend by any means, because so many of his moves can one-shot. It's not in your favor to extend the length of the fight. And when you're playing a healer, sometimes you're not doing enough damage, and this does extend the length of the fight. It gives him a lot more opportunities to get a one-shot on your team, right? So being a healer doesn't matter if he's able to one-shot anybody, if that makes sense. So damage is high priority, good defense is high priority. Cheap, good defense. Alright, there's the black spikes again. You'll notice he just goes crazy. Alright, my teammate jumping out of the way there. Good job. You can see two of us are actually using hammer and abusing this ledge. And I think that's one of the reasons why this run went so smoothly. You saw that Feline Insurance procced just earlier. That's 3 free lives we got. Think about it. Ron Swanson got Moxie. I got Moxie. For both of us, it procced. And then Feline Insurance procced too. That's 3 free lives. If we didn't have Moxie and we didn't have Feline Insurance, the match would already be over. So you can see how much thought you have to put into your strategy for having enough health for surviving Arch-tempered Nergigante, because he is a difficult fight and he will get you. Alright, so I'm all out of... Oh, somebody else had an interrupt. Perfect. I think he was using Dragon Pods. And Dragon Pods do drop at him as you're progressing in the fight, so you do have a sense of how far along you are. That's just like any other fight. Still ledge hopping all the way. I've got the Temporal Mantle on, which means I'm indefeatable. He can't do anything to you when the Temporal Mantle is on, which means really when your Temporal Mantle is on, you need to be going nuts on him. And when the Temporal Mantle is on cooldown, you need to just kind of play it safe. Be sure you're... The safest way to fight Arch-tempered Nergigante is to understand who is he aggroing. Okay, when you can confirm who he's aggroed to, then you can move in for an attack. If you don't know who he's aggroed to, he might be picking you, and he might use a backwards leap. So you might see him, he's done attacking your friend, you don't know who he's aggroing next. We just leaped for it, I didn't want you guys to have to watch all the running. You don't know who he's aggroing next. Well, if you start attacking him, he might actually be targeting you even though his back is turned. And he's so fast, you won't have time to react to it if you went into any of your attacks. Okay? So all these tips, I'm trying to give you all the tips that are good. We're in his nest now. We got the wake up attack. If you could put him to sleep in this last stage, that's what I would do. He's really that dangerous in this last part. Yeah, I did have one victory where he never managed to escape to his nest because we kept interrupting him. And if you can keep him out of the nest, look at that. You saw that was the tail swipe I told you about. He lays it down and he goes in a circle. You can see I lived only by a hair from that one move. So if I had any damage on me at all, I would have died. If you were using a bowgun, that is a one shot, even at full health. All right, we just lost Ron Swanson. And I am abusing that ledge like crazy. All right, and here's my last shot, right? No, I'm going to max potion. So another move nearly one-shot me. And he's got to be getting close, I know that. Another move almost one-shot me. I'm going to take one last jump. And there we go. Took kind of a risk there, really. I remember that risk at the end, but it was worth it. We got him. He's gone. All right, and finally, here's a look at the build I was using in this case. In case you want to copy it, feel free to do that. And I'll probably do counter builds for all the weapons. They're all viable, of course, but it's important to get your damage up and cheap defense, vitality, tool specialist, and divine blessing, I would say, are important at the canteen, moxie, feline insurance. All right, well, that was my quick guide for fighting Arch-Tempered Nergigante. Later, I'll have more tips and better strategy guides, and we'll be doing a review of the armor, so I hope you guys are back for that. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.